Hi, I'm Debbie. I want you to give a firm handshake. All right, I don't want you to break their knuckles. You know how some people, they go, oh, I have to do it really strong. Yeah. And so you're going, okay, now I'm cringing. All right, it's just a firm handshake, whether male or female. You always want to give a firm handshake because if you just stick out your hand like that, they're going, it's exactly, they go, she's weak. She's not confident in who she is. So you stick out your hand, you shake, firm handshake. It's not like, hi, how are you? I'm so glad. You know, you just don't like never surrender, but it's just a firm, quick handshake, all right? That communicates confidence and that I'm here for the job, all right? The other thing that you want to do is to make sure you give eye contact, all right? So when I stick out my hand, I'm not looking over at Matthew and going, Caesar, who else is in the room? No, that person deserves your undivided attention when you're shaking their hand. Does that make sense? So you don't look all around the room and go, I wonder who else is here, okay? So you go, hi, my name is Debbie.
Nice to meet you. My name is Josiel.
Nice to meet you too. All right, so I would like you to do that, all right? And I'm going to be inspecting. All right, so when you're standing there, when you have your hand shaking that person, you have to make sure that this hand is under control. All right, the other hand, because a lot of times when we're nervous, we'll stick it in our pocket, we'll grab our hair, we'll scratch our face, we'll do all kinds of things with this poor hand that has nothing to do. All right, so when you're going in there, you just put your hand at your side, you're confident, you stick out your hand, ready, and stand straight. Hi, I'm Debbie.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Josiel.
Nice to meet you too. See the difference? You stand with confidence, shoulders back, you extend your arm, firm handshake, eyeball to eyeball. Okay, feel free to have a seat. How many of you have already decided what career you would love to have? All right, all of you? Would you please write that at the top of that piece of paper? Turn it over. Remember, I said one page will be for an assignment, one will be for taking notes. So I want you to write down what is that career opportunity that you are really wanting. It's not maybe something you have to do for the rest of your life, but in the next 5 to 10 years, you go, oh my gosh, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I would really like to pursue. Now, you are about to be interviewed for that position. What are 3 to 5 questions that you would anticipate the interviewer would ask you for that job? All right, write down 3 to 5 questions that you would expect to have to answer in an interview if you were being interviewed for your dream job. What do you want to do in biology?
I'm not really quite sure yet, so I don't know.
Do you want to be more on like the scientific end of doing research? Do you want to be a teacher?
Research.
Okay, so put research.
Nursing.
Okay, good. So how are you doing back here? And what's your job, dream job? CPA. Okay. Okay, great. Psychologist, do you want to work with all ages? Do you want to specialize with children? Do you want to specialize with learning disabilities? Do you want to specialize? Pardon?
Adolescents.
Okay, so adolescents. All right. How about for you, Caesar? What's your dream job?
Teacher, mainly high school or college.
Okay. Any specific subjects?
History.
Pardon?
History.
Okay, write it down, please. The more specific you are with your dream job, the more focused that interview will become. Okay? Everybody have your questions? All right. When you go for an interview, which is what you're about to do, I want you to approach this exercise as if this is a drop-dead, gotta have this job or you will not be eating. You will have no roof over your head. Because if you don't treat it with that type of seriousness, you will approach this next exercise with a very, oh well, no big deal attitude. When you walk into the room, we've already talked about you walk in with confidence, you extend your hand to say hello. But I also want you to consider, if you're walking into the interviewer's personal office, look around. Always check out the entire environment that you're about to walk into. All right? How many of you know that baseball is going through a certain event right now? What is it called? The World Series. All right? Maybe you're not a baseball fan. Okay. But if you discover that perhaps this person is a male and he's got giant paraphernalia all around, then you go, oh, you must love baseball. Well, yes, I said, and you must be glued to the TV right now watching the World Series. Do you see how you're making a personal connection because you've got your eyes examining and paying attention to your environment? All right? Or maybe you'll see a picture of this family and go, you know, I see that you have children. That must be fun to be raising kids. Do you see what I'm saying? Make a personal connection if at all possible. When you sit down, there are some ways that you sit, because most interviews will not take place while you're both standing, all right? So when you sit down, I'm going to invite you, if you have two options for chairs, and usually you won't, usually it's just going to be a chair that will not be a swivel chair, okay? But if it should be a swivel chair, your challenge is to not rock that chair during the interview and to not rock yourself back and forth or up and down, correct? Because what does that communicate? Nervous. All right. So when you sit down, you just go, I am firmly planted. I will not move. Okay? If you are a woman and you have a purse, I'm going to just move over here so Caesar can see me. I'm going to encourage you, do not put your purse in your lap. Because when we're nervous, what do? We play with everything. If you have a cell phone, do not take it into the interview, because even if you have it on vibrate, do you still know when it goes off?
Yeah.
Would that possibly be a distraction to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Plus, it's considered rude in an environment of an interview situation. You should not take anything that would be a distraction for you. Women, if you have a purse, take a purse that keeps things a lot more organized. All right, we all have different types of purses. This type of purse I brought specifically because it's got it's got compartments, so I just have to open that up, and I know exactly if they said, I need your driver's license. I don't have to take everything out of my purse and go, I know it's here somewhere. All right, because that creates more nervousness for you, correct? All right, gentlemen, same thing for your wallet. Make sure that you've got everything organized in there, that you know exactly where your driver's license or any social security card, anything that they would need for that interview position. The other thing that you'll want to do is to make sure you don't slouch. What does slouching communicate?
Like you're just lazy, you just don't, you're like, oh.
Lazy, who cares? Doesn't matter, right? So your posture, even when you're sitting, is important. All right? The best way to do that is to not sit all the way back in the chair, because it tends to make your body slouch or hang over. So you want to make sure that you're sitting like halfway up in the chair. If you're a woman, you want to make sure you don't cross your legs at the knees. All right? If you're wearing a skirt, sometimes if you're not paying attention, that would reveal maybe more than you care to reveal at the interview. All right? So you always want to make sure you cross your legs at your ankles. all right? Cross your legs at your ankles. Your hands go cupped over each other like this in your lap. That keeps them from doing other things like playing with your hair, making sure everything's all right. So you just keep your hands right like this, okay? Now, hand gestures are fine in an interview, all right? Otherwise, you're going to look like a statue, all right, which you don't want to look uncomfortable, but you do want to be poised, all right? For men, this is the other thing that you want to do with your hands, is try not to use hand gestures that go above your head, all right? Because if you use hand gestures up here, then people are like, oh my gosh, like she's fanatical or he's fanatical, all right? It communicates a person who's not under control, all right? But you can use your hands as long as it stays below your shoulders. Does that make sense? All right, do you see I'm using my hands and I don't look like I'm about to flail you, hurt you, all right? So make sure you don't have your hands way up here. All right, so keep them poised like this. When you keep your body up, halfway up on the chair, then you automatically are sitting a lot more straight up, all right? Shoulders back. Now, this is what I would like you to do, is you're going to pick a partner, you're going to exchange the papers, and you are going to interview that person with their own questions for the job that they want. Now, remember, you have to communicate in such a way that shows that you want this job. You need this job. You are the right person for this job. So when you go into an interview, you don't go in apologizing. Everybody starts somewhere, right? We all have to get that first interview. So people don't anticipate that you're going to have years and years of experience. But what you do have to be sure that you do is everything that has happened in your life up to this very second has prepared you for the job that you want, right? Because you've been making choices all along the way that say, I am going to go into nursing, all right? You've already been tracking people that are doing it perhaps. You've been looking at things. You've already made that decision. So something in your life experience up to this moment has created that desire for you. So you've done some specific things in preparation for that. Even if you haven't already worked in a hospital, something has triggered that. For you,
It was biology.
biology. So something has created that desire, something has piqued your interest in the past. So you want to make sure that you reference those things in the interview when you're answering questions. For example, they go, what type of experience have you had being in biological research?
I volunteered.
So, all right, so when you volunteer, do you realize that volunteer service is just as valid as being in a paid position? All right, they look at that because that means that you're communicating, I really am interested in this and I have put the time in to learn without getting paid. All right, so does that make sense? So take all of your experiences up to this moment in time and say, how does that equip me and prepare me for the job I am now interviewing for? Now, you're going to exchange the papers as I asked you to. You're going to interview that person. I want you to write down their answers on their paper, all right? I also want you to make notes when you're finished with the interview questions of how did they present themselves? Were they poised? Were they confident? Or were they apologetic? Does that make sense? Did they give you eye contact? Yes?
We give an overall grade.
You're not giving an overall grade. You're giving your assessment, all right? Because in the real world, you're not going to get an A or a B or a C or a D or an F, but you are going to be assessed on how you communicate. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to interview each other. When that's all done, you're going to stand up and introduce your brand new employee and tell why you chose to hire her or him. Okay? So, pick a partner. All right, pick a partner. The two of you work together. I'll work with you. Okay.
So we're gonna be like cross the table to make a team.
You set it up the way you think a real interview would be. All right, set it up the way a real interview you think it would be. All right, it's usually going to be across a desk or perhaps a table. If you're not the person that's being interviewed, you would not have a pen and paper in front of you. Only they would, correct? Because if you've got a pen and paper in front of you, holding on to it, you're going to start getting distracted. So make it a real life scenario, okay? So.